Sie hören Sport und Musik.
Das Spiel ist aus! Deutschland ist Weltmeister!
Mario Götze! Mario Götze!
Tonight, whether you call it football, or soccer, a German American and a German in America dare to call it Fußball. German foosball from an American point of view. Let's add some buns to that hamburger and join them for the Schnitzel Boys Deutschland Hour.
Yeah, hello.
Hello, Bjorn. Hello, Bjorn.
Hello, Stefan. The vibe's a little different because it's Thursday.
Yeah, we're doing a special Thursday edition. We couldn't do it our usual Monday because of adult stuff, and then do Wednesday. But we're going to Thursday. But we can't ignore this. This is a big.
We're coming to you at the special time to let you know that Germany's done.
Okay, Sarah. Alle Deutschland ist weg vom Fenster. Fertig. We're done. We're gone.
Bodo Glimt got further this year than any German team in Europe.
Go Bodo Glimt. They were, what was it, a few years ago, they were this little club no one ever heard of. And now, year after year, they're in it, man. They're in the semis.
Now they're this little club that some people have heard of that's in the semifinals of the Europa League.
Yeah, they just looked it up. Their stadium has a capacity of 8,000.
It's like Ipswich. They're like the Ipswich of. I mean, they're at the Arctic Circle, right? So it's cold AF. So
yeah, real cold.
You don't want to.
Yeah. Does the sun ever set on Bodo Glimt?
Not yet. Not this year.
Is it one of those places where it's 30 days of night and 30 days of day later in the year?
Something like that. And you know who helped them out today?
Are you about to invoke an alumni of the prestigious New York City Football Club?
Yeah, my club's legend, Tati Castellanos, who he must have missed a penalty at some point in his tenure, but I don't remember one. But today he did. He had that like stutter step little. There were a lot of penalty misses. Lazio missed 3 out of 5, and I was so confident. I was like, because at first it looked like he wasn't even going to get a turn because Bodo Glimt could have won it with their previous penalty, but their captain shanked it across the bar, and I was like, well, Tati, there's no way Tati's going to miss this. And sure enough, he did. A pretty meek penalty to the goalkeeper save, and that was it. That was it for Lazio. After a dramatic comeback, they had the lead in extra time, and then Bodo Glimt came back again and tied to force the penalty shootout. So it's very exciting.
And then won the penalty shootout. Yeah, and this was in Italy. This was in Rome.
This was on the road. Yeah, they had gotten a win. They had a 2. They had a 2-goal win in the initial game. Right. That's why they. But then Lazio came back.
Up at the circle. We call it up at the circle.
Up at the circle. That's what we call it. Up at the circle.
Where the hip kids call it. I'll see you up at the circle.
The hip 8,000. The 8,000 hipsters that come to that meet up in the circle up at the circle to watch Bodo and Glimt.
It's only 8,000 people, but all 8,000 of them are hip. Are always in the newest fashions.
At the cutting edge of soccer knowledge.
The biggest jackets. Yeah. The biggest, fluffiest jackets you've ever seen. Now, go for it. So we're talking.
The longest beards, the bushiest beards.
The bushiest beards you've ever seen. So this is a Thursday night edition. This is a Europe edition. We're going to cover Europa League's fresh. UEFA Champions League happened Tuesday, Wednesday. Europa League happened today, Thursday. We had 3 German teams we had our eyes on. Alas, all 3 German teams were eliminated. But Bodo Glimt was really exciting. Manchester United played Olympique Lyonnais in extra time, and that was also quite thrilling.
Yeah,
if I'm not mistaken, 5 goals were scored in extra time, which I've never seen before.
5 goals in extra time. Is that true? Maybe.
Yeah, because it was tied.
It was time. Well, United had a lead. I mean, they were also they
It was
had
tied in aggregate.
it
Yeah,
was
tied in
tied.
aggregate.
Well, it was tied. The first game was a tie, and then Man United had a 2-goal lead in the first half, to the point where their goalie was like doing shenanigans towards the French fans. It's like,
Onana.
what is with this team? It's like their season is terrible in the Premier League. They're in 15th
Right.
place or something, but they're still hateable. They managed to remain hateable even in this current sorry state. And so they get a little bit of a lead, and so they just go off on the. Anyway, I did not like that, and it was immediately punished by 2 unanswered goals by Lyon. They in with a man down, they managed to do this, and that forced the game into extra time, where you're right, yeah, it's 5 goals in extra time because
Telling
Lyon again with 10 men took a 4-2 lead on a penalty.
Yeah.
And a counterattack by their mercurial midfielder Hayek. What's his name? Ryan Hayek. He's a very old
Ryan
school kind of number
Cherki.
10. Cherki.
Ryan
I'm
Cherki.
sorry. Yes, thank you.
I wanted to talk about him for a bit because
I've been
hearing.
No, go ahead.
Well, I've been hearing that's like, oh, I want to check out this Cherki guy, and I had a couple players I was able to take a look at today. So Ryan Cherki is his name, spelled Rayyan, Cherki. He really, he's like, when he has the ball, you can tell he's got the ball. Like his passes were fast. Like his passing is really fast and efficient in a way you don't really see. Like it's like always power kicking. And then this go ahead goal was, again, he intercepted this counter or whatever and just slammed it from outside the box. And went straight past Onana. And look, it was such a great goal. I'm like, now I know why people are talking about this kid.
I mean, he's not, from what I've seen and heard, he doesn't score a lot of goals. He also doesn't play a lot of defense. He's like sort of an very old school number 10. Like he could just kind of is a great passer, an orchestrator.
Amen.
And but doesn't do much else. But he did score. I think he scored in the previous game as well. So there was some talk. I heard that Man United actually might be interested in him.
Yeah. Well, Alexander Lacazette was playing for Lyon, the former Manchester United. But Ryan Cherki is also a Lyon homegrown. I was like, oh, where's he from? He's from Lyon. He was from there. He's from Lyon, born and raised. He's from their youth academy, and Lyon's the only club he's played for. So I also like that. So he's an up-and-coming French international. Keep an eye on Cherki. But when he slammed that goal, they celebrated like they were winning the game because they were up 2-0. And I believe that was close to halftime of extra time. So there's only 15 minutes left.
You would think, you certainly, usually these extra times are pretty cagey affairs. You don't see a lot of goals scored. So this is very unusual. So if you have a 2-goal lead, you feel pretty good. But not in this case, because then a quick penalty was called for Man United, and then they scored 2 more goals in quick succession, and then they celebrated as if they had just won the World Cup. It's crazy. Like, okay, everybody calm down. They were like children crying in the stands. I'm like, what child cries about the Europa League? I mean, come on. Like,
hey, good for them, man. What do you don't poo-poo on? It's such a magical night in Europe. It's Thursday. But the commentators said that they're cheering in a way they haven't cheered in years. And it's like, yeah, that's true. Because they're having an electric night where they're winning. And it's like, but they're also overturning a 2-goal deficit in extra time. I mean, that's insane.
Okay.
So, I mean, you're right. It's just now they're on to the semis at the Europa League. You're right. But Manchester United,
I mean, they won the league.
Such an interesting club because it's such an interesting club because we're witnessing a former great completely being diminished into a mediocre club, and the transformation is just about complete. Like it's pretty much nothing about Manchester United is great anymore. Like all their players are pretty mediocre, and they're no, what are they? You said they're 15th place or whatever?
Something like that.
2 points above Tottenham. Let me check the standings because Tottenham Hotspur, which we have to get to in a second, is in the same boat. They're also 17th place or something.
Yeah, they're
But
both.
anyway, Manchester United
They've
pulled
been
it
very
off. They got
close. They've been close to each other. Yeah,
yeah.
in that region of the table. They're not
Anyway,
making them.
I look at Eintracht Frankfurt, and I'm like, Eintracht Frankfurt's Germany's best middle class team this year, right? The third place or so in the
Yeah,
Bundesliga.
yeah.
And then they have to play against Tottenham Hotspur, which is here we go. Manchester United is 14th and Tottenham's 15th.
Yeah.
So tonight we're celebrating the 14th and 15th place teams in the English Premier League. And Tottenham went to Frankfurt, got themselves a penalty, and drove the whole game and got out of there with a 1-0 win.
Yeah.
Frankfurt didn't have much to offer.
A disappointing performance by Frankfurt. They came in with a tie, and you thought, they should be competitive,
tie in
especially
London.
because Tottenham Spurs are not a good defensive team. They have not been all year, and so for them to just not muster anything
until the very end.
Was disappointing.
Christensen kept missing some good chances there. He's had 2 or 3 in a row right there where he just hit the ball. They missed the goal a lot, and then towards the very end, they finally moved the ball with some swagger and was like, "Hey, where's this been the whole game?" The other thing is Tottenham clearly got under their skin because in the first half it got real scrappy. I know Nathaniel Brown got up and challenged whoever he was challenged by, and was able to draw a yellow card for the other player. But they were, it was one of those. It was getting Copa America-y. They were like going at each other, and every little foul was exaggerated. And right at the ref, like the pressure was high.
I mean, for them, this is everything. They're not going anywhere in the league. Obviously, this is their only ticket back into Europe and to salvage their season at all, and probably for Ange Postecoglou, for him to have any chance of saving his job, is all this tournament. And so, this was big for them.
They pulled it off.
And for Frankfurt, I don't know. They've won the Europa League before. They're probably playing Champions League anyway next year. So it was maybe a little bit less of a high priority for them. But they
could have won the title this year. I think it was high priority for them too, but they didn't come to this game ready to go. I mean, they could have moved the ball a little better. They could have had, they just didn't have much. I'm trying to think if there are any, other than those Christensen chances, I didn't see a lot. Eintracht Frankfurt didn't have any good scoring chances until after the 75th minute already. Eintracht Frankfurt eliminated. I mean, our Germany's number 3 eliminated by England's number 15.
Yep.
There you go. There
I go.
I was going to get into. Yeah, there you go. There you go. I do want to. This is also later. I will compare. The little league comparison. Maybe I get a little mad because it's like, you can't handle Tottenham Hotspur this year. Come on, it's Frankfurt.
Well, I mean, it's like, it's small. I mean, it's always, the temptation is always to draw big conclusions, but it's like, small margins. I mean, obviously they did very well in the initial game. They came out of Tottenham with a tie, and they were in a good position. Maybe, it was just didn't happen today.
It was for them to win. It was for them to be Germany's last hope. They were the great hope. I got a good look at Nathaniel Brown. It was a great up-and-comer. He had himself a solid 75 minutes before he had to come off for an offensive substitution because he's a more defensive player. So they brought in Knauf because they were chasing a goal.
Mm-hmm.
But Nathaniel Brown, who got a little scrappy with a guy in the first half. I like watching Nathaniel Brown. He's a young, confident player, and definitely one to keep an eye on for the future. Definitely ready for a U.S. shirt, I think, where he's at now. Hopefully much more than Timothy Chandler is, because Timothy Chandler is also there still, which I love. That dude will never leave.
It's the cockroach of Eintracht Frankfurt.
The Frankfurt cockroach. What if that's what we called him? Timothy Chandler, the Eintracht Frankfurt cockroach.
Indestructible. I mean by that.
Yeah, they survived nuclear
war.
It's
a compliment. Yeah, he's right.
But they got that penalty. I don't know. I thought the commentator was very much a homer. He's like, "Oh my God, that's so terrible for the goalkeeper. Look what he did." It's like, the guy ran into the keeper's going for the ball, and the player was there. Like, I didn't really see that much with it. The
Kevin
keeper
Dipper.
did miss the ball, sure, but he tried to go for the ball, and the ball did hit him. He didn't miss the ball in its entirety. But then he went to the player. It's like, well, yeah, he has to. I mean, the player, when two immovable forces go at each other, they hit each other.
This is
Um,
Kevin. This would have not happened to Kevin Trapp.
Yeah, I don't think so. So, what do you think? Do you think it was because initially it was not a penalty? You had to go to the VAR booth, take a look at it, and the VAR monitor take a look at it, and then announce it was a penalty after the fact. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it seems that the recommendations in Europe are a little tighter for those kinds of calls. Like UEFA likes this called a little tighter than the Bundesliga or the Premier League, for example, calls it. So it's a little bit jarring. We had like a couple of those in the what game was it? It was the Arsenal game, the Arsenal Real Madrid game, where there were a couple of like penalty calls that were kind of questionable in that way, where there was for like some grappling. I mean, not the same situation as the Frankfurt game, but like some sort of grappling in the box on a set piece of people, like far away from the ball and probably nowhere, not really gonna get to the ball. And I think that's a sort of a slippery slope if you start calling that. Like, you can call a lot of penalties. And
I
one
remember
of
that.
them
Yeah,
and
I
one of
remember
them
what
got called and the other one got called, but then it got called off for offside, not because it was too soft. So I think this is just a general trend in the European competitions where UEFA kind of calls these a little tighter. So I guess it's in keeping with that. But I mean, he opened himself up to it. It was a little clumsy. No,
True. No, you're right. It was, but like that same thing happened later in the game, and then he ignored it. Remember, it happened with the same two players twice later as well, where they ran into each other. But definitely towards the end of the game, the player set himself up for it.
Was only worth one penalty, I guess.
Only one, but like, what's he? There's a very anti-keeper laws. I mean, what's he? Is he supposed to be more dainty about it? Just let the player have it. I mean, he's the goalkeeper. He has to go off and get the ball. So what else
but
is
then you have to really get it. Like, you can't just like get everything and
can't
hope
flail your arms up and just jump at
exactly.
the. Okay, so I'm willing to give a little 50-50 here, but I thought the commentator was exaggerating. It's like, oh my god, that's terribly aggressive from the goalkeeper. Bah, bah, bah.
Yeah,
And
well,
it's like he's just a goalkeeper being a goalkeeper. It had maybe shades of Battiston, but then when I saw the replay, I was like, nah, he was going for the ball. I mean, Battiston very openly missed the ball and just went straight to the player. It wasn't that bad, I don't think. But like, I don't know. So that penalty, to me, I was like, all right, sure. He hit the player, but also he's the goalkeeper going for the ball. What's he supposed to be doing?
right.
And then like he's not Superman. He can't fly out of the way when he misses the. But anyway, penalty happened, and then Frankfurt had the whole rest of the game to at least get an equalizer, and they just couldn't pull it off. Frankfurt, Germany's last hope, is raus, weg from Fenster.
Aus.
There's no more Germany in Europe. Germany's not in Europe anymore, Bjorn. Isn't that crazy?
No teams in the semifinals. Norway has more teams in the semifinals than Germany.
When was the last time that happened?
Well,
argue,
because
never.
Norway has never had a team in the semifinals until Bodo Glimt today. So this is the first time.
Yeah, good for them. Good for you, Norway. Enjoy your
Good
time
for
in the
you,
sun.
Enjoy
your time in the
up at the Arctic, as we like to say. Up at the circle. No, what do we like to say? Up at the circle.
Up at the circle, and enjoy your time in the sun, because you're going to be in it for 30 days straight. So enjoy the way the sun
30
sets
days, 6 months, right?
Is that word? All I know is that in the Arctic Circle, the sun doesn't set. The sun just goes around the sky, just like you just see it throughout the day. The sun just rotates around your sky, which is cool. I want to go see that.
Mm-hmm.
That is very cool. But anyway, that's the Europa League. So that's the Europa League.
That is the
yesterday.
Europa League.
We had the thrilling conclusion to the Champions League, the higher level, the big boys, the big boy table.
The big boy table.
And as 15th place Tottenham was able to dominate or defeat a third place Frankfurt in the England-Germany comparison, Germany's best team played Italy's best team. Inter Milan versus Bayern München. Bayern München in Milan had to overturn a 1-goal deficit. It was definitely the tighter game left of the quarterfinals. Probably the
Yes.
tightest series.
The first games had all been pretty decisive except that one.
Right. And then, Bayern München were not pushed. They were good. Like, they weren't pushovers. It was a 2-2 game. But again, I think with Bayern München, I say again because we text beforehand, Bayern München just have themselves a terrible injury crisis. And it's just like tough to, at this level, it's tough to manage. If your best players aren't there ready to go at this level, it's tough. And the fact that Inter Milan scraped by them, essentially 1 goal worth at their full strength, shows you that the disparity between the leagues. I think the English league has maybe a little more firepower, but between the German and the Italian league, the best Italian team, without the injury crisis, I think Bayern München would have had that tie. With Neuer in goal, with Musiala up top, maybe with Alphonso Davies still in the back there, with Pavlovic. There's a couple of key figures that Bayern München are missing these days in the dog days of the season. That if they had, I think that they would have won that tie. But no, Inter Milan got it. Henry Mkhitaryan, and then, like you said, the winner, Benjamin Pavard, got the winner there at the end. Former Bayern München, Bayern München player.
And he got they didn't like him at center back, but his replacements are no better. Especially Kim. I mean, I think you're right about the I think I agree with everything you're saying. I think at full strength Bayern wins this. But they almost won it as it was, because they were really only one center back short. I thought Kim had a really poor game. And
poor series,
and that really made the difference. They were the two kind of set piece goals that they gave up. Kim could have prevented both of those. I mean, it sort of fell to Kimmich, and he looked bad, but it was very, very didn't have a lot of time to react and was kind of got unlucky, I thought. But Kim got beaten both times by his man to the ball, and that kind of was the difference. I mean, I think Musiala also creates a little bit more danger. Bayern, they're not super efficient. Like, they create a lot, and then they don't really convert. Like, Thomas Müller had a couple good looks. Like, this could have really, I thought Bayern were the better team, but they also kind of, in both games, because they're not defending well, they open themselves up to the Inter way, where they're just happy to sit back and then hit them on counters and set pieces, and and they just kind of did as much as they had to do, whereas Bayern sort of exerted themselves but didn't. It's weird. It's not how it used to be. They used to that used
the
to
other
be
way around.
Bayern, where they just defend well, and as long as they have a lead, they would just kind of sit back and then kind of turn it back on when they had to. And a little disappointing from their end, but certainly a lot. Yeah, like you're saying, the future, this will work itself out once the center back thing is definitely Upamecano. He also is a little has been error prone in the past. Eric Dyer, who I also in general do not rate as a starting center back for Bayern Munich. He had a great game yesterday, though. He had a goal line clearance that was incredible, and he scored a goal. So he it was not up to him. Was not his fault. But yeah,
it goes to show you
very close game, and it was not to be.
It goes to show you that Bayern München, in my opinion, what's his Max Abel and Jan Driesen and Wallace and Gromit, they need to go. Stadler Waldorf, rather, of Rummenigge and Uli Hoeneß. They need to go to work this summer. And I think they're going to have a pretty aggressive summer transfer season, because Eric Dyer is the star on the back, and then 35-year-old Thomas Müller is the star up top. And it's like, refresh a little bit.
But that's an injury, right? If once Musiala is back,
that's what I'm saying.
Right.
Yeah, but they also need to like, which they've done some work. They have the Japanese player Ito, who they signed from Stuttgart, is injured as well. He was going to be part of their new defensive reinforcement. But yeah, Kim Min Jae has been a little disappointing for them as of late. I think he's on the crosshairs. Eric Dyer is just one of those players who's like kind of odd that he's there. And then Dai Upamecano used to be excellent. I don't know what he's been a shadow of himself at Bayern
Well,
Munich. I don't know
yeah.
what's going on. They just need to, and then something I've been saying, I guess is my controversial take, is I love Manuel Neuer, but he's got to go, man. He's too old. He's too injury prone. This is the third major layoff he's had with Bayern in the past few seasons, and it's like Bayern München's a club that can't lose their keeper.
But they have his. But the normal replacement is also hurt, right? This is also compounded by that, right?
Was it Sven Ulreich, right?
Yeah, he's right. So he's
I'm like, he didn't play either. But then also then they need to hire a new physio staff. I mean, why is half of their team injured by now? That's also something to look at. I know with Alphonso Davies they blamed Canada, but Canada didn't injure
blame Canada.
Blame Canada. I mean, with I think it is time that they bring in a Nubel, right, to be their new long-term replacement.
Who? Oh, Nubel. All right,
Alexander Nubel.
Yeah, but it's dicey, right? It's dicey because it's like Neuer seems like he wants to play until he's 50.
I know, but if
no
Thomas
one's going to come in, no one's going to come in and be his backup.
So you're saying Thomas Muller has to go? They're going to force him out, but Manuel Neuer can play until he's 50. I mean, they're a big boy club. They have to make big boy decisions. I mean, they should. So if Thomas Muller is forcibly told to leave because they don't want to pay him anymore, they can do the same with Manuel Neuer. Why are they not doing it with Manuel Neuer? Manuel Neuer is older and more injury prone than Thomas Muller, and lately more error prone. Remember what happened last Champions League? He's spilled in the box against Real Madrid and they lost. So Manuel Neuer is. Deserves to play, but I think if I'm Bayern München, it's like it's time for you to go back to Schalke or something. It's like go finish up your career somewhere. We have to move forward with a new whippersnapper. They need to bring back Jan Sommer, or they need to play Nubel or something.
I was not impressed with the current version of Jan Sommer. I gotta say, he looked really vulnerable on set pieces, and so I don't know. That's the answer.
I can't claim to say I watched him a week ago. All I know is that when he was with Gladbach, he was like the best keeper in the Bundesliga. Maybe alongside Neuer back in his day, Jan Sommer in his prime. But all I'm saying, so that's the Manuel Neuer, but also they have Ito, but they probably need to sell. They need to get rid of Gnabry. He's been on the books way too long. No one knows what to do with him. He's a non-entity.
The former Spurs guy, Paulina, who they couldn't live without. That one time they were supposed to get him in the winter, and then he didn't come, and that was the reason for their whole. No, Guerrero's been good. No,
I guess he was Borussia Dortmund star. All I know is that they need to flush. They need to get rid of a lot of guys and bring in a lot of guys over the summer. It's going to be mainly defensive.
I mean, I think
maybe they have to bring in
center backs. That's really it. I think.
But if they get rid of Muller and Gnabry this summer, then they also need to bring in one or two other guys, maybe more from the academy. I don't know that they have.
I mean,
Stanisic is from the academy. They just have to figure it out. Like you said, priority one, solid center back pairing. They don't have that right now. They just solid center back pairing. The days of Alaba are long gone. And
not according to Real Madrid, but yeah, at Bayern they are. Yeah, that's true. I mean,
we'll bring David Alaba back if he wants to come back.
It's. I mean, Kingsley Coman is getting a little long in the tooth, probably. So there'll be some changes, but I mean, but
new physio, new players.
They're looking pretty strong now that Goretzka is back. So. I mean, I don't think I think there's going to be. I mean, there's always going to be some changes, but like center back has to be the focus. Everything else is not bad. The whole Olise Konrad Laimer combo is oddly working. That I would have not thought that but they just have a chemistry somehow. Michael
Liner's playing out
Olise.
of position. He's been like,
Well,
he's a right back.
but
It's like
he's
he's
like
not really a
ready
right
to.
back. He's a
He
holding
was
guy.
ready to. Yeah, he was ready to help out, and he was ready to overlap. And Olise is one of those guys you were talking about. The Lyon guy, whose name I still can't remember.
Cherki.
Yeah, you were talking about him, but Olise also, he has a way of kind of caressing the ball that's pretty unique. Like he's got a very smooth way in which he plays. So yeah, a lot of good stuff. A little unlucky for Bayern.
Now that we're saying it out loud, Biden mentioned might have to go for Cherki this summer. That might be a thing. We'll ship that.
As the 10, he's going to start over Musiala. I think Man United will pay more and need him more potentially. I don't know if he even wants
if you're Cherki and Bayern and Man United are calling, whose phone do you pick up?
No, that's true. Probably Bayern.
I pick up Bayern's phone because one's still a winning club. The other, I look at Manchester United as Everton. It's just like, do I want to play for a low to mid-level English club like Manchester United, or do I want to play for a title-winning club like Bayern?
Well, what if the mid-table club offers you $1 gazillion? Does that make a difference?
I mean, yes, in two ways. One, is a lot of money, but also B, that club just breaks players. Players have never been the same.
But they still get to
post
keep.
Man United.
They still get to keep the $1 gazillion.
Yeah, but then they say goodbye to their careers. Like Manchester United is the perfect place for Cherki to go die, like his career to die, and him to be never, quote unquote, never the same player again. Remember what happened to Alexis Sanchez? He scored like 100 goals for Arsenal one year, and he went to Man United. He scored 1 goal, and then he was never the same.
Yeah, but that was because of Özil.
What was because
he at Arsenal he had Özil, and at Man United he had Luke Shaw and Scott McTominay.
Well, but yeah. I mean, I don't know. You might be giving Özil a little too much credit. But like, yeah, but
what
anyway,
do you mean? In his heyday? Come on.
I mean, Özil was the star of a dying Arsenal as well. Arsenal was never
dying.
Speaking of, yeah, but Arsenal and Manchester United were on the same track, but Arsenal over the last few years have actually pulled themselves back out of the hole, and they are in the semis. The first time in more than 10 years they made their way to the semis. The final four are Barcelona, PSG, which are two of our regulars, right? Those are the usual suspects. And then Inter Milan, which I thought was like a outlier, but they were in the semifinals 2 years ago. So I guess I must have forgotten that. But before so Inter Milan are back but they're back, and Arsenal are back after like a long after they haven't been in the semis since the late aughts. Were you saying Barcelona? I was confused. Were you saying Barcelona is not a usual suspect in the Champions?
Well, I mean, now but like the last couple of years, it's been a bit of a struggle for them. But
weren't they in the semis the last 2 years? Right? I just saw a graphic of the semis, and Barcelona was there like every time.
Well, maybe maybe I just have a short memory, but on
your point, it is nice for me to see Barcelona do so well in semi. They got Hansi Flick and Robert Lewandowski.
We like Hansi Flick,
We like Hansi Flick, but also Barcelona is one of those great clubs, and it's been weird that they've had financial troubles. Like every 2 months, they have to find money under the couch to register their players. You know, like it's terrible. They're playing in a borrowed stadium right now, so it's good to see them do well. I want to, because if Barcelona falters, then Spain goes bye-bye. It's just Real Madrid unchecked. So it's nice for Barcelona to be in there for what you mentioned.
Barcelona have not. I'm just looking here. Have not made the semifinal since 2019. 6 years.
6 years. There you go. So they're back. Good for them. Inter Milan is back. I know they went 2 years ago, but before then there was a big gap. So it's good to see Inter Milan back. Real Madrid is not there, so it's good to see them not there.
I mean, that in itself, really is worth mentioning. You know, not just that they're not there, because they have found a way. I mean, they've really had an incredible run, and they had come back from pretty hopeless positions a bunch of times, but in this case, cumulatively, it was 5-1 Arsenal.
Yeah, Arsenal
So
handled it.
not close.
Handily.
And,
So we have a fun Final Four.
This was with Bukayo Saka also poorly shanking a penalty early on, and you kind of had that feeling of like, oh boy, are they going to
Here we
regret
go.
this? But no, they did not. Yeah, I think this is a great semifinal matchup. I guess it would have been nice if Bayern, and it would have been just as great with Bayern in there, but
two of these teams have never won
Bayern
this.
and Bayern and Arsenal. You know, the Arsenal I think would have probably wanted some revenge to Bayern, but yeah, two of these teams have never won.
Right, two of these teams have never won this title before. Arsenal and PSG.
Arsenal and PSG, that's right.
And then Barcelona, like you said, the first time in 6 years, they're struggling financially.
They last won it in 2015.
Oh, Barca. And then when's the last time Inter won? Inter won it under Jose Mourinho in what 2005 or whenever it was. 2010 when they beat Louis van Gaal's Bayern München. That would have been 2010 for them. So we have four. Yeah, we have four.
You're right. 2010 they won. Very good.
It's in my memory here. I always remember that well.
You got that.
Bayern München had a great comeback, beating Manchester United to lead up to that final. Remember, Ivica Olic, the great Ivica Olic, the hardworking.
Right.
Scoring that. I think it was like 2-0. They won 3-2 or something. It was just a great game. But anyway,
no, go ahead.
But it's open. It's open. So those are your four teams. 2015 is the latest, the most recent winner of these four is 2015. So Barca 2015, Inter 2010. The other two have never won it. So it's an open. It'll be fun this year. We're going to give the title to someone we haven't given it to in a while. Or ever.
It'll be very. And Arsenal are very cagey defensive team. Although they did get 5 goals on Real Madrid, but in general, I think the PSG Arsenal matchup is going to be a little cagier, I'm predicting, and the Barcelona Inter
London versus Paris. I like that. English versus the French. That'll be fun.
And that's going to be, I think that's going to be defensively dominated, maybe, and the Inter Barcelona, there's going to be fireworks, I predict.
Yeah. I think what my original thing was as a PSG Barca final, right? I'm still believing in that. And then I forgot who I predicted. I think I predicted PSG to win, which will be fun because they finally get rid of all their stars as the year they win.
Really interesting. Like they're just although they almost they got very lucky against Villa. They were two goals up early in that game, and they had clearly checked this one off, and then things really went awry. And they were a block away. A former Dortmund player, Ian Matson, got a volley late that would have sent this into overtime, but it was blocked, and it was going in. Looked like. So that was a wild one. And we also do need to give a little credit to Dortmund, who obviously were pretty hopeless after losing 4-0 at the Bernabeu at Barca.
Not the Bernabeu.
Not the Bernabeu. At the Blaugrana.
Whatever the city stadium.
At Barcelona. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And so they clearly had no chance, but they made it kind of interesting. If not for an unfortunate own goal by Bensebaini, this would have been a tight one. They ended up winning 3-1, fair and square. Guirassy hat trick, pretty good performance. Even Gio Reyna got to take his training suit off and got a little run out.
I was gonna say, got to do what? He was just like all Gio Reyna's been doing is getting the sweat in. He hasn't been doing anything other than that. I want to talk about Borussia Dortmund were not pushovers. They did get a home win. Granted, Barcelona was always leading by 2 goals throughout the entire tie, so it was never super close.
That own goal really made a that kind of killed that took the air out of it, because at that point they were 2 up, and if they had obviously it's a long shot, but at least they made it interesting.
And Gassi got a hat trick. No, it's nice. No, good for Dortmund. They entered that second leg fighting. They got themselves a confident 3-1 home win against Barcelona. Out of context, that would be a huge celebration no matter what. But in context, as part of a 2-part series, Barcelona drove the full 109. Well, no, what is it? 160? No, what is it? 180 minutes.
Right.
The full 180 minutes for Barcelona's, but still a good 3-1 home win. Good for them. It wasn't a total blowout. It was a 5-3 loss. It was 5-3 loss on aggregate, which is respectable against a team like Barcelona. And good for them. But they're out. But they're the ones we knew kind of would be out.
They
of
also
the 3 German teams, they were the one that was like, they're definitely out. Right? So they are out. It's Bayern and Frankfurt. It's like, really? You guys both are out? Both of you are out?
Yeah.
Not even one of you could make it through.
It's disappointing.
No, and this is the quarterfinal stage, not the semifinal stage. So trying to think of the last time we've had no German teams in the semifinals. But it's in my mind, it's been a little while, because Eintracht Frankfurt made a run to the final. I want to say twice, right? In the Europa League. And Bayern's usually in the Final Four. And last year, Borussia Dortmund made a run to the finals. So they lost to Real Madrid in the Champions League final. So usually German teams in there somewhere. Maybe not a lot, but usually 1 or 2. It's always like the caboose who could for life. But this year, no luck.
We had, although 2 years ago it was the same.
And there you go.
I mean, if you're just looking Champions League, we had Bayern made the semis last year, and then before that only in 2020 the last time. So, but then there's usually somebody else, right? And some other.
Well, hold on, they didn't make the semis in 2020. They won the whole tournament in 2020. Bjorn.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. But I mean, last year we had Bayer Leverkusen made the final of the Europa League. Before that, they made the semis of the Europa League. Yeah, we have somebody in the. There's usually somebody in the.
Right,
in the semis, among all these different, except
May.
for the Conference League. Our Conference League teams have not done anything ever.
Yeah, well, I think they don't want to spare much, but like let's call it. It's usually German teams in May, because it's always in May. There's always something going on in May. This year, there's no Germany anything in May. It's all done with. The league is done. Weg vom Fenster. The last remaining event, which has any sort of interest, is Arminia Bielefeld, captained by Mal Korbaz, young American journeyman, taking on Stuttgart at the Olympiastadion in Berlin, DFB Pokal. Yeah. And if the third division team wins, that means Bundesliga clubs win nothing this year, except for Bayern, who are going to be handed the title because after stumbling over the weekend, their chasers stumbled as well. So,
that was their Klassiker. Their Klassiker, if you want to call it that, for once lived up to its billing. That was a very zippy game, I thought.
Yeah, 2-2, and then
it was 2-2.
They dropped a point, and Bayer Leverkusen could have brought in by 4 with 5 rounds left. Did they do that, Bjorn?
No, they've got a scoreless tie against Union Berlin.
Yeah, and they're very much like, Bayern, it's yours. We don't want to offend you or anything. So you lost a point, you dropped 2 points, we'll drop 2 points because we don't want to offend you. Yeah. And that's what they did. So it's still a 6-point gap. It's still looking like Bayern's title to lose. And finally, Bjorn, Harry Kane will have himself a title.
Well, I was told by my English friend, Mark Faison, he said German title doesn't count.
It essentially doesn't.
The curse will survive.
Because there's a good chance that might be his only title ever. I don't know if he leaves this summer or what, but like,
and that doesn't do it to break the curse.
If you go to Bayern München and all you get is 1 German league title, that's pretty forgettable. It's a pretty forgettable tenure.
Well,
that's but
I don't think he's not going anywhere. No, right? He's gonna.
I hope not.
He's gonna stick
if
around.
I'm Harry Kane right now, I'll be like, why is half my team injured right now? Like, this is when we're supposed to be healthy. The whole point of him at Bayern München is to win one of these dang Champions League titles. And he definitely has the skills for it. He just needs to have half of his team be healthy. So hopefully by this time next year, his boys are healthy.
They need to be able to defend corners.
Yeah. So hopefully, Harry Kane's not getting any younger. So hopefully by next year they have that organized and he'll finally get his Champions League title right before he comes to the United States and gets blasted out of the group stage with the English national team because they don't travel well. And they burst into flames.
Okay, we'll see.
They train in Miami where they just burst into flames.
Should we have a quick look at the Super League?
Sure.
Yeah, everybody lost. Hamburg and Köln had the opportunity to really take a big step towards Bundesliga 1, but they did not. Köln could not win at Greuther Fürth, who are a low-table team, and then HSV lost to Braunschweig. They're even lower. They were in the relegation places at home, 2-4. So, but everybody else lost too. So Kaiserslautern lost to Nuremberg. Düsseldorf got a win in Paderborn. So they're still, Hamburg and Köln are still in the driver's seat for the first two places. And the run for third and perhaps a meeting with Bochum or Heidenheim, although Bochum will perhaps not win another game after losing at home to 10-man Augsburg. So yeah, but the third place in the Super League is still up for grabs, but Hamburg and Köln remain in the driver's seat.
The theme of this week's episode is stumble. Nobody won this week. It's exclusive stumbling.
All the good teams,
nobody gained points.
Yep.
Yeah. It's 1 point or 0. You get 1 or you get 0. No one got 3 this year. Everybody was eliminated from the European competitions, and all the top teams, the top 2 divisions, didn't get any points. So it's about that stumble, baby.
I mean, Bayern and Dortmund won their games, but it was not worth anything.
Bayern didn't win any. Bayern didn't win any games.
Oh no, it was a tie today. I'm sorry. Yes, you're right.
They tied each other. They tied.
Dortmund
they lost.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Bayern München's last 3 games are 2 ties and a loss. Pressure's on Vincent Kompany. You know what's crazy too about the whole Bayern München can't defend? Who's their coach?
Vincent Kompany.
Vincent Kompany, one of the best center backs.
Yeah, I think he should. I think he would be better. It would have been better than Kim if he had played, but I don't. That's not how that works.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you should be running some trials.
Can't
like how Jürgen Klinsmann ran goal scoring trials for the Galaxy once upon a time, and then they were doing better. Anyway, that's been this week in German soccer. Not a great week. One to forget. A lot of stumbling. But HSV are in it to win that title. I'm rooting for them. Bayern München are about to win their title again this year. They're on track for that. That's business as usual. Unfortunately,
I mean, it's really
dominated so much.
But they were vulnerable again. This is really on Leverkusen. They inexplicably have also stumbled. Yeah, and have not taken advantage of their opportunities. And those were there, and they still are kind of. It's they're 6 points behind.
They need to seize the day. Will this be damaging to Bayern München or the Sharks in the water? I mean, Bayern München are vulnerable. So, and there's still, how many rounds are left? I say 5, but I just pulled out my
5. You are correct.
There are 5.
Yes.
There's 5 rounds left, man. Bayern München are vulnerable. So
it's gonna get late early.
All right. Well, there you go. That has been this week in German Fußball.
We're going to skip the MLS hour, right? Although my team got a win.
Yeah, so we'll skip then, if that's the case. My team got themselves a tie, but it was a brutal tie. Like a crazy tie. But my team also has a little bit of an injury situation. Not as bad as it used to be, but not great.
We also need some center backs.
You should get Bayern München's old center backs. They'd serve you well. Kim Min-jae was crushing MLS. Yeah.
You think?
Yeah, of course. Are you comparing a Champions League semifinal to a Wednesday game in St. Louis and being like, oh, they're about the same quality?
If you can't jump on a corner, that's that's a problem in MLS too. I don't know. Yeah, maybe. I mean, not like that's going to happen. Not like he's going to come to New York. Although, according to the Athletic, NYCFC is interested in Kevin De Bruyne.
Hey,
so we'll see how that goes. And so
is Kevin De Bruyne interested in NYCFC?
Yeah, I mean, these MLS rumors are always to be taken with a grain of salt. He doesn't, but I'll believe it when I see it. But anyway,
where's Gio Reyna going?
Where is Gio Reyna going?
Everyone's talking about Ajax. I think that'd be great. Does Ajax
LAFC?
want him?
I heard LAFC maybe.
LAFC. Could Diego Luna be heading to Borussia Dortmund and Gio Reyna heading to Real Salt Lake?
What?
We'll see. That's what I'm saying. Anyway, that's been this week in German soccer. Tschüss.
Tschüss.
Bis nächste Woche.
Alles Gute. Macht's gut.
Macht's gut.